This is Jaeel Beato, and you are listening to the Zeroed In podcast. Sit back, relax, and zero in. It's so amazing to have you here on the podcast. How are you, first of all?
I'm doing really good. Today is like the perfect. It was a little rainy outside.
Yep.
I love a good rainy, gloomy day. So
Same.
I'm like vibing. I love
and
it.
today's the Boston Marathon, so it was pretty crowded, but overall, I mean, it's been a great day. And I mean, I was just outside, like as I told you like a little earlier, like I was just covering it with my news team and everything, and it was like super awesome. So
Yeah, I had to wake up early to watch some of the first runners come in.
yeah,
I was like, I have to do that.
and two Kenyans won.
Yeah,
So that
I
was
saw
awesome. Yeah. Well, first off, I want to talk about where you're from, languages that you speak. I know you speak Spanish, but
Yeah.
just kind of tell people like who you are, where you're from, and all of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jason Korn. I'm from Auburn, California, which is like Placer County. It's fun, small town. I am adopted. I'm Afro-Latino, so that's always fun. Yeah, I speak English and Spanish. What else?
I mean, that's good. That's good right
Good
there.
start. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I mean, of course, everyone watching, and I know, of course, that you're a musician, and an excellent musician. I listen to you
thank you.
personally, and for me, typically, like when it comes to like listening to like I guess smaller artists and like artists who
Right.
are like upcoming, I typically like kind of just listen to it, and then I don't know, like I typically listen to like mainstream, like that's just, and it's like not
Hey,
good.
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong
I feel
with
like
that.
yeah, I don't know, but I mean, there's something about your music that just kind of like draws me to it every time. Like I don't know what it is, like it's in my favorites, and I'm not just saying this because you're right in front of me. Like I really do enjoy your music.
That's so sweet. Oh my gosh, thank you.
I want to talk about your first song release, Fairy Tales. How did it feel like to finally release that into the world? I mean, like at least onto like all platforms.
Yeah, it was very euphoric. I wrote Fairy Tales like at a campfire, like with a bunch of friends, and it was really weird because I wrote the song and I was like, this would be cool, and like it was not at all the first song I thought I was going to publish. Actually the second song that I came out, which was Voices in My Head, that's what I thought the first song was going to be. But Fairy Tales was the first one. Like it was the first time I learned how to like produce music on Logic, and I put like 2 months of my life into it. And I mean, it was really awesome. I learned so much and so much valuable information about just like creating music in general and like how it feels for me. So it was like really euphoric and like really scary to get out to the world. But I had such like such feedback with it that I was like, this is something like I want to keep doing. And it was really fun. And
Yeah.
I still love that song today.
Yeah, I mean, like I give it a listen, and I mean, the fact that it's your first song, like, is amazing, because I mean, we've obviously I've seen your growth, like from all the music that you've released, but it's a great first song to release, and I imagine like the nerves like the nervousness. I mean, you're kind of putting a project out there into the world, not knowing how people are gonna react to it, like any judgment and things like that. Like, did you have that like in your mind, like, oh, are people gonna judge me? Like, are people gonna like this and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. I think that's a lot of the reason why I didn't put music out before. A lot of it was just like being in my own head and just being like, well, why am I doing this? Well, like, I'm so scared. Like, I don't want people to know, like, oh, they're going to find out like this song like partially has to do with them, or
Right.
like, oh no, they're going to like be like, oh, this is like not good, like stuff like that. And I kind of just had to make a connection within myself to be like, okay, I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing this for me. And now, like, when I release music, it's not cause I'm like trying to like get my agenda across. It's not cause I'm trying to like I'm always trying to tell a story, but also like I release music because if I don't, then it's just gonna like fester inside of me, and like releasing it out to the world is kind of like giving it permission to like for me to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense, honestly. It's great, and that's a great thought process as well. A great way to think about it.
Yeah, it took me
honestly.
a long time, still processing
Yeah.
with that. But yeah.
So I want to talk about any music that you've made that never actually got released onto platforms? Do you have that?
I have so much of it.
Much?
Yeah. Right now, I probably have like 2 albums worth of music not out and not produced because it's so scary. It's so scary. And also, last year I released a song called Jester.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be the first song of a triple release for an album. And I didn't release that. I spent like spring break recording multiple tracks for an album, and I didn't end up releasing any of it because, like I kind of said, like for me and kind of like letting it out to the world, I kind of just like left it inside and I dealt with it like in a different way. And after I was kind of done with the songs, I was like, I can't even relate to them anymore. And that's kind of like a thing for me. Like if I stop relating to a song, or if I stop like, I guess like feeling emotions towards it, or like kind of like the passion, like I'll stop working on it. Like I'm one of those people that's like, if I can't relate to the song, or I don't have a reason behind putting it out that like justifies for me, then it's not going to see the light of day. I've a lot of people in my family and my friends were angry about that, but they're like, okay, that's your decision.
I mean, I get that 100%. I mean, I feel like you of course want to put projects out that are the most authentic, like, you know,
Exactly.
and you feel like it's really like fully representing like that moment in your life. And you know, of course, like we all evolve, we go through many changes in life, and you know, if it doesn't feel right at that moment, then that's perfectly fine.
If something doesn't feel right, or something just feels off, I kind of distance myself from it until I'm ready to come back to it. And that's just within music, life, school, like things like that.
So I want to talk about your team that helps you. I'm assuming you have like a photographer, maybe styling, maybe like a production assistant. Do you have that still, or is it kind of like a job that you kind of do on your own?
I've been very grateful. I've been very grateful for the connections and the people that I've met. When it comes to like a team, I wish I had it like a 100% team all the time, because my life would be so easy. But independent artists, we don't get that. But I have a producer whose name is Brian Steckler. Absolutely love. He's amazing. He's a family friend that I happened to meet, and we finally got making music in 2021. That was with Fairy Tales, and I've been like, he's been my producer mixer ever since. Like, I love working with him. As far as like photos, it's been anyone that'll help me. I remember on Jester, it was Aton. I don't know if you know Aton.
No,
but,
I don't.
Love him. He's very, very, very talented photographer, and just overall camera guy, VMA, super talented. But yeah, and this for my most recent project, it was one of my friends, Dane, also super talented videographer. And it was just like, we had an idea and we went with it. It's mostly just a lot of, I'll have an idea for a photo and it's like, who wants to help me make this reality?
I mean, it's kind of like where you're sort of like using what you have with you right now, especially as an independent artist. It's difficult because you don't really have like a full-on like management team or whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, you're also an upcoming artist, so like it'll take time to like build that team that's gonna kind of like stick with you through all that. So
I definitely think it's also important just to have fun with the process.
Right. Exactly.
I found myself within photos and within like videos and like little stuff that I've put together, like if I'm not having fun within the process, like it's gonna show on my face. And I'd rather be having like a kick-ass time recording the music, whether that's like being like emotional in the music or whatever, but like I'd rather be having a crap ton of fun than sitting there just in dread or something like that. But
Yeah, honestly, I feel like when you have fun with it and you're enjoying it, you get the best result. Honestly, it's better. You know, if you're stressed, if it's kind of like, oh, like there's a deadline or whatever, like you're kind of like anxious. And
when you let loose, that's when like real magic is allowed to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I noticed on your Spotify caption that it says, this is what it says. I believe everything happens for a reason, but sometimes when it happens, it hurts.
Oh, I knew you were going to bring that up.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I completely forgot that was there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take a second. I was not expecting
take your time.
Yeah. So originally it read, what was it? It was something before. It was Julia Wolf, who's an artist, who my friend Anton actually showed me, had something in her description that I had in my description before. I forgot what it is now, but I then wrote that freshman year. Everything happens for a reason, but when it happens, it hurts. Mostly because that was kind of was and is the vibe of like my music almost. I'm a firm believer and have like it's not like religious or anything. It's just the way I was brought up. Like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's just what I believe. And when it happens for a reason, you don't have control over what's gonna happen or how like it's gonna affect you. So like when it happens, like it sometimes hurts, and that kind of was something that I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this on there because that is my music. Like not everything is gonna work out in the way that I want it to work out, but if I'm staying true and speaking from my heart, then like that's all the change in the world that I could ask for. And that was kind of like my process behind it and kind of putting it out there. I had some friends ask me, they're just like, bro, this is like sad. I'm like, what do you expect? Like, and that was before like I had released my EP, and everyone's like, this is like sad. I'm like, it's only gonna get worse, y'all.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. As you said, like when we were setting up, you were like, trust the process. Yeah. And honestly, like that's so true. And also like, you know, being an artist takes a lot of patience because you know,
God,
like
the stories I could say,
and it's so easy for people to like give up if they're not seeing like the results. But I mean, you have to trust the process. You have to have patience and kind of see where time takes you, because I mean, as you said, everything happens for a reason. So you don't know what maybe you're struggling now for a reason to get better in the future. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think everything is also a learning process. Yeah. It's all a learning curve, and I think when you trust the process and allow yourself to fuck up, when you allow yourself to make mistakes, I think there's something very genuine about what comes out of that. I know in so many of these tracks, like I messed up, and on one of the tracks I messed up on and like made a decision for, People Love, which was Sin on the new EP. Like I hear about that song more than any other song. Like it's not even my favorite song, but it's my second favorite. But I was just like, I recorded it one night and I was like, oh, I don't know, but I have to put this on there, and sent it off, and I was like, fuck it, like, it's out of my hands now. Yeah.
What is your favorite song, by the way, and your least favorite?
like out of my discography. Out of
your entire discography.
Oh gosh. Favorite, Perfectly Imperfect.
Yep.
Love that song. Oh my gosh.
I can relate.
I put that song. Little story. Sorry, I don't mean to go on tangents.
No, keep going.
I wrote that song. I woke up, and I made that guitar in like 5 minutes. Like I just like had that, and I had like ideas for lyrics going through my head. And I was like, okay, if I don't sit down and create the song now, I'm gonna blow up. And I ended up cranking out the entire song fully not mastered, but like fully produced, everything I wanted, exactly how I wanted it to sound, in 2 hours.
Wow.
And it's 5-6 minute song. So it was a lot. And I was really surprised with myself, and I felt way better after it was done. And I'm really glad, like, that's what music does for me. Like, it feels better after I'm done with it and kind of like I put those emotions into it. That's usually also what I do with vocals. I won't go back and record vocals if I, like, I'll only do it if I have to. I usually want, like, the original vocals, like, the final vocals I record, because it has, like, that rawness in there. And I really like that. But my least favorite song is You.
Really?
Yeah. I really, like, I have nothing against the song. I think the song's great. I think the song is great. It's just, I tried something different, and it came out, but I think it just, like, felt very foreign for me. And I didn't want to put out, well, I did want to put out the song originally. But then, like, after consideration, like, the song I had originally written was not the song that was, like, produced.
Right.
Like, the lyrics for it, I wrote it when I was on a trip, and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Like, I just love that. And after I produced it, I was so distanced from what the song actually was that I was kind of just, like, creating a different meaning for it, which came out and people love, and I know people that really like it. I just think I was so distanced from what it was originally about and trying to find what it meant for me, and I never solidified that. And even now, like, it's still, like, a gray area. So, like, that just goes to show, like, how, like, I think of, like, my music, how, like it has to, like, mean something for me. But
yeah. That's really interesting. I mean, that's a great way to explain it. And yeah, I mean, honestly, a favorite of mine is Over to Me. Like, I just, the production on that song is just wow. Like, it really blows me away. And every time it's like, I just never get tired of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that type of song that I'm just like, I'm not gonna get tired of you.
Oh, thank you.
So I really
that's
love
such
that
a compliment. Thank you.
So what initially sparked it for you, like, to become a musician? Like, what was that? Like, was there a moment where you were like, you know what, this is what I want to do for my life? Like, you know, at least something. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to pursue in my life.
Oh, that's a loaded question. I love that. As far as I can remember, I've loved playing music. I think it originally started with pots and pans on my kitchen floor.
Yep.
As a child, like many artists. I barely play the drums. Like, I have drummers in my family. They're all fantastic. But it kind of went from there, and singing, I've always been singing. Singing has been something that's, like, been embedded in, like, my fibers almost. Like, it's been something I've always enjoyed. It's been something that helps me get my emotions out. Like, that's why I have such a deep connection with my voice.
Yeah.
And I think the initial start to want to become a musician was probably in middle school or elementary school. It was elementary school. I did this project, and it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And sure, I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be an actor, like, you know, the things that you hear from kids.
Right.
But I'd never, like, really thought about it. And that was the first time I really started writing music too. I was in elementary school. I think I was in 5th grade. I don't know. I have, like, the original notebook with the original first song, and it's so bad. It's so bad, but I loved it. And I think that was kind of the start. I just saw, I was hearing all these artists and people, like, I looked up to. At that time, it was, like, John Legend, Michael Jackson. I loved Justin Bieber. I loved Justin Bieber during that time. But I was, like, listening to all of this and all, like, the music that my parents were listening to, and I was like, I can do that. I can write songs. Like, I love music. Why can't I do that? So then it started with just writing lyrics, and then I could play guitar a little bit. So then it was playing guitar, and then it was like, oh, let me get better at guitar. And then it was like, oh, wait, like, I have this little keyboard that I've had for so long. Let me get better at piano. And I was like, oh wait, my cousin plays the drums. Let me learn a little something about drums. And like my uncle plays the drums. Let me like sit in with them. And I was like, oh, my cousin now owns a bass. I wonder what it's like to play bass.
Yeah.
And it kind of like keeps going and going and going. And that's something like talking about like people in my family. We love just picking stuff up and just giving it a shot. Like I think all of us, if you give us a week, we could probably figure out how to use the instrument and fake it till you make it.
Yep.
Like that's just something about my family that is really awesome and really encouraging. But yeah, I think it was just like from that point on, I was like, I want to keep going and see where this goes. And then I figured out how to do it, and out came Fairy Tales, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, and it takes like it's a risk, honestly, and it takes a lot. Like it takes a lot of guts to be like, okay, this is like what I want to do. And you're a musical theater major?
I am, yeah.
So, kind of like talk about how like you sort of incorporate like that into like your creative process, like when it comes to music. Do you incorporate those skills that you use like in musical theater for your music?
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's good. I think I do to a certain extent. I think keeping in mind, like in musical theater, like singing through song, I think that's something like just as a performer is very important to know, and like and like figuring out like the emotions with it, and singing from a point like singing from a place where you are kind of tapped in with the song. And I think like when I record music and when I perform it live, I like to be in those places, just because it makes it more authentic for me. And I think I use that a lot, but it's also different because I wrote it. So I'm like drawing from actual, like, I'm just kind of like going in the past almost, and kind of, but I definitely do think like I use a lot of that. Not to mention vocal training really helps for singing. But yeah, I think musical theater has really helped me become a lot more comfortable with performing as well. Oh my gosh, I barely live perform. I barely live perform for no good reason at all. It's just that I'm scared, and I finally feel comfortable where I'm like, no, yeah, like I can do this.
So you have live performed though, like your music, like at venues? Or
not venues. I think I've always been scared of going that way, just because my music is kind of like, oh, this is sad. Like, oh, this is a vibe switch. Like, yeah. If I find the right environment, not even the right environment, like I can do covers and stuff and like slip them in between. I can make a lot of my songs up tempo if I really want. But I think it's also just another thing of like being vulnerable with your own work. Right. And putting it out to the world is one thing, but like singing it for the world is a completely other thing. And I think I'm finally at a place where like I want to try that. And I think I'm finally ready to start doing that. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of it next semester, next year. So we're all excited. I'm excited. Fingers crossed. I can't wait to see that. Are there like any, I guess like dream venues you'd like to perform at like in the future? Gosh. Dream venues. I would love to perform at the Golden One Center in Sacramento. Only because like that's like home. Yeah. And secondly, I've thought about it so much where I'm like, oh, if I did that, I do this. Like I started thinking once like, oh, this is how I'm gonna like end my entire thing. Like this is the one song, and like I would love to perform there, especially because like it's home and feel comfortable. Yeah. Go get some like pie and ice cream afterward. Be like, yeah, this was well deserved. No, yeah, I mean it's so funny because I actually like I don't sing or anything. I mean I just sang once like in my talent show. Yeah. Heat Waves. Ooh,
That
love
brings
that
back
song.
some bad flashbacks though, because
Bad flashbacks.
like it was fun, but like I don't know, like sometimes like with my voice I'm like a little insecure, so yeah, when I did that I felt like so good like performing, and I was like wow. And then like no one knows this, but basically like in my basement I like act like I'm literally performing like in an arena, like I'm just like performing, and I'm like that would be lit. Like if I could actually do that, like
Yep.
I would love to do that. Like I would like make my crowd like be lit and everything. But
Oh, you should see me in my room. You should see me in my dorm room.
yeah.
I have my speaker going. I'm like mouthing the words. I'm like,
Yup.
I love it.
So how would you describe your genre of music?
Great question. I don't even think I can describe my own genre. But I think it was. I would describe it as like very much indie, like indie, R&B, soul, pop, and singer-songwriter. Like obviously soul and R&B I'm slowly incorporating more and more because I'm becoming more comfortable with like experimenting, and like soul and R&B are something that like I love. But as far as like my own music, that's a lot of the music like I haven't put out. But like I also love incorporating like jazz and like things like that, or as much as I can. But also like I really try to allow myself to make the song and not worry about the genre. Like whatever happens. Like Fairy Tales to me when I listen to it is very country-esque. And I was listening to it I think this was probably like 2 months ago. It just like came on. I was like, you know what, fine. Like I'll listen to it. It's my own music. I'll be that guy for a little bit, listening to his own music. And I was just like, oh, this is very like country-esque. So that's where I was in my life. I'm like, I listened to that, and I think the genre of, or kind of like the sound of what was out at the time, or not out at the time, what I put out at the time, just kind of reflects where I was at in life. So now like a lot of the music I'm working on is a lot more like true to myself and true to like who I'm becoming. Like I have a lot more like jazz in there. I have a lot more like Spanglish in there, which I'm so excited to release. Oh, it's so good. But it's kind of like that. I think my genre that like I'd stick with is probably like indie singer-songwriter, but it definitely like turns into other things when I change, because I change with my music, and I'm going to stay true to my music. I'm not going to stay in one genre.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's perfectly fine, honestly. I see it like, I feel like I see that becoming something that's like more common as well, like with artists, like kind of like shifting from genre to genre. Yeah. Which is perfect. I mean, it's awesome. It's experimental, and I love that.
Love experimental. When
artists do that, like I'm just like, wow, like I love it so much. Like the different eras that artists go through.
Yeah,
like, I love
exactly.
it. I love it. So I want to talk about your first EP release, Letters from Afar. So amazing. So amazing. That's kind of actually how I really found out about you. I don't know if you remember when you were like in that live, I was just commenting. I was like, this is fire.
I do remember
that night that you were releasing it, and I was like,
stayed on live way too long, but
no, but like seriously, I was like on that live, and I was just like, there's just no way I'm just finding out about this. I mean, I basically I met you like in Amigos here, but I was like, wow, like this is gonna go somewhere. So like, what emotions were going through your head like with this first like official like EP project, like, you know, releasing it finally? Like, what emotions were going through your head in that moment?
So many. Oh my gosh. This project was like, it was like blood, sweat, and tears. I loved working on every single bit of it, but it also made me so insecure. Oh my gosh. No, but I loved it. I worked on a lot of these songs, and a lot of these songs were from either from the past, like I just had worked on, I just had written, like a month, like all in between. And it was kind of like my first themed project.
Mm.
The title Letters from Afar, I had talked about, and I'd put in my phone this one day, and I was like, okay, like this sounds like really good, and I had like multiple names, and I landed on Letters from Afar because it was enough obscure where I didn't like single like one part of like it's like something out, and it kind of like in my brain I was like, Letters from Afar, oh, this is gonna be such a love EP. Oh, it's gonna be like intertwined. It's gonna be like a whole thing. I was like, the world had other plans. I was like, emotions, here you go, which is like fine, and like I love that. But the first song I ever wrote for it was Over to Me, which
really?
I loved.
Oh.
Yeah, I loved working on Over to Me. It was very. I had like such a 50s and 60s idea for it, intertwined with like, sure, let me throw some synths in there and like have some fun with that.
Yeah. And that little beat drop. Oh. That moment when you're just like hearing like that beat, like the production.
Yeah. I wanted to do that. There's the song that inspired me to do that is called Savior Complex. Not by Phoebe Bridgers, by Brandon, who did a cover of that.
Oh.
Listen to that song. It is so good.
Okay.
I quite literally transcend every single time I listen to it. But that was kind of the inspiration for kind of doing that like end part. It would have been a lot longer if I had more time with it, or if I worked on it now.
10-minute version.
Oh, just wait. But yeah, it was just a process because Sin wasn't even supposed to be in there. It was winter break. I think it was a week or two before I was supposed to come back to school for this semester. And I was working on the EP. I was working on it. And I was just like, something's missing from it. And then I went back in my notebook. I was like, is there anything that I can just produce? Like, just like have fun with? And I came across Sin, and I completely forgot about it. To this day, I have no idea what went through my brain. All I know is I was in Oregon. I wrote it, and I don't even know what it was originally about, but I knew that it spoke to me in that moment. Like, you know, the chorus, nothing lasts forever, and I never said it does. Like, goes all along with Letters from Afar. So I was like, okay. Spent the entire night, worked on it, sent it to my producer that night. I was like, this has to be on it, and I will record it. And it came out. It is quite literally like I love that song so much. Yeah. But yeah, it was a journey, and I loved it. And yeah, the letters on like the cover.
Oh, that cover art, like that cover is just wow. Like it's perfectly themed. Like
no, yeah, I have like those aren't just like words too. Like those are like full letters.
What?
They're full letters with the names in it.
I wouldn't ever.
Oh yeah, I was so afraid. Me and my friend worked on like blurring it out because there was a point when you could like if you zoomed in, you could read the entire letter. I was like, that's not happening. No. That is not happening. Not over my dead body. But yeah, I still have. I think one of my friends like has the letters to keep away from me. I was like, great, thank you. Don't need to read those again. But yeah.
So a lot of your songs have like sort of like an acoustic emotional aspect to it. Yeah. Are you planning on sort of carrying that over to your future projects, or do you want to kind of experiment more? I know you're an experimental artist, but like, do you want to kind of sort of like make more upbeat music, or does that just, like you said, kind of depend on, you know, what time you are in your life?
Yeah. I've had so many people ask me, so are you going to make upbeat music? Yeah. And I think that's a great question. I really don't know. I would love to make upbeat music, and I think that's 100% a possibility. I mean, the song that I'm working on right now is really upbeat, and it's more of like a dance kind of vibey song. But I think yes, I would love to work on stuff, but also it does really depend where I am in life. Yeah. And like there's this one upbeat song that I was gonna release, and I might release this summer,
Ooh, y'all heard that?
Possibly. But I love this song, and it's called "Do You Want Me." I wrote it during the summer. It was I loved it. I love working on projects with people and different artists. But it was one of those songs where I was like, yeah, like I can really get into this. And it's also like a thing of like, I tried doing upbeat with you, and I was like, that just didn't feel genuine.
Right.
So I think being true to my music and myself is more important to me. It's more important to me than releasing something upbeat, even though I want to so bad. And you, don't worry, you're gonna get it.
Oh,
you're gonna get it. You're gonna get
ready.
it. It's coming out soon.
No, I mean, yeah, but honestly, don't even feel pressured. I know you know, people have told you like, you know, when you're gonna release like upbeat, but don't even feel pressured, honestly, because that's something that comes with time. And I know you know. No, yeah,
I don't feel pressured. Okay. I think it's more just like an expectation within the industry.
Right.
Like, and I know so many people have broken that expectation time and time and again. And I think where I'm at right now, I'm comfortable with the music that I'm making, and I'd rather be comfortable with it and like make strides there, and then kind of take a step back and be like, okay, let's do this next. Let's change it up. Like I feel like I'm at a point where like I want to change it up, and kind of like taking that time to like just feel it out, do what feels good to me.
Right.
No, yeah.
So what do you think like your greatest weaknesses and strengths are, like musically?
Musically?
Yeah.
Gosh. I would say I'm so stubborn. I'm so damn stubborn. Gosh, I can get really angry in the studio. And I'm not saying like that's like a bad thing. It's more just like me getting angry at like things like going wrong. I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't perfect. It's more the perfectionist in me. But I've just recently started to allow myself to have fun and release. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. No one's asking for perfect. They're asking for personal. And like, I think also another thing is like practicing what you preach. If you want to be a musician, okay, what's the latest song you just wrote? What are you working on right now? Like, what are you doing to push yourself in that? I know for me, like, I struggle with marketing. Marketing, like, if I marketed this EP a lot better, like, I think this would have gone quite far.
I think that has to do something with, like, also not necessarily having that team, like that marketing team. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of doing everything by yourself. So I get it. Yeah,
and I think it's also really difficult when you have like the schedule of a college student, or like when you're in a show,
which we're going to talk about.
Yeah. You know, you do the best you can, and I think now with music, it's just be comfortable, and I think growing from your disadvantages and like using your like strengths and weaknesses to kind of like help you, and just I think I'm a firm believer in, if you pinpoint what those weaknesses are and you're constantly aware from them, you're already growing from them.
100%. Yeah. So how do you balance, because you obviously mentioned like you're a college student, we're both college students. How do you balance that, like college student life, but also being a musician? I mean, I imagine that's hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It is so hard.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be like, oh my gosh, life is so busy.
But it is though.
It is, but also you make time for the things that you love. I micromanage the crap out of my day. If you see my schedule, it is like any break that I have a little thing in there saying, okay, you're going to do this. Okay, you're going to do this. Obviously, like, you can't force yourself to make music. I also carry like my notebook on me at all times. So if I want to write something, I can. But it's also another thing of allowing yourself to be creative in any way still helps your music. Even I know I took a break because I was just so busy last semester and like this semester. Yeah. So I kind of just took a break from music and just kind of focused on playing the instruments instead. And that's really helped me with a lot of the music that's going to be coming. But yeah.
Excellent. And who are your music influences? And also dream collaborations, maybe.
Um, Dream collaborations, I don't really. Actually, no, that's a lie. That's such a lie. I have so many. I'd say right now, like influencers on kind of like what I'm doing with music.
Mhm.
Nina Simone, Stevie Wonder, Omar Apollo.
Oh, I love Omar. Yep.
Love Omar. But like dream collaborations, I would love to like collaborate with Anderson .Paak.
Wow.
That would be
awesome. That would be like out of this world.
I would freak out. I'd freak out. Just because like he's very experimental and like what he does with his music and like I feel like he goes for more of a feel and what feels right. I was just watching an interview with him and Bruno Mars about Silk Sonic, and it was kind of like when something clicks, like it clicks, and you want to have someone that pushes you in the studio as well as like helps you.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important. That's why like I want to work with my friend Nate Steckler. Like we have some tracks that we've been working on. Super talented musician. Track's gonna be coming out soon, Nate. I know like also like the influences changes along with like what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Vicente Fernandez is like someone I love. I listen to Vicente like every single day. Also like I got really into listening like just like really into like that genre of like mariachi. So I wanted to like incorporate some of that.
Yeah.
So might be some songs. There'll be like a whole ass album. You'll see. It's just like a whole Latin album. It'll be awesome.
We're ready. So what piece of advice would you give to like any musician that's like sort of hesitant to like, you know, get out there and put their music out there, because I know, you know, it can be hard, it can be nerve-wracking as you described earlier. What piece of advice would you give to those people? Just
start. Like, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It doesn't matter like what people think about it. It doesn't matter like if you're struggling with it. It's just get it made. Like, get it made. You do not have to produce it. Like, you do not have to put it out there. But as long as you make it and you feel good about it, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Just get it made. Just start. It's never too late to start. It's never too early to start. Like, there's this kid that's like 15 that just released this one song that I'm like completely obsessed with. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? But yeah, like it's never too early and it's never too late. Just be true to yourself, whatever you make. Yeah, I mean, you can really start at any moment in your life, whenever you think it feels right. The final question that I had was, where do you see yourself as a musician in the next 5 to 10 years from now? Oh, question. I'd say I'd like to see myself just enjoying what I'm doing. Like I don't think I have any expectations for like where I'll be performing, where I'll be like doing with my music, as long as I'm just like making music and like having fun with it. I think that's going to be enough for me. I don't think I need to be making like a crap ton of money. I'm very comfortable with just having fun. I'm very comfortable with just like keeping that authenticity. And that says a lot about you as an artist and as a person. You're doing this because you're passionate about it. Yeah. Not for like the money, clout, or whatever. Like, you're really doing this, and that's really gonna take you far in your career. And I mean, I can't wait to see what's coming. Honestly, I'm so excited for your future projects coming up. And I hope everyone can take a moment to listen to this amazing person, amazing artist. You're just so incredible in so many ways. Shared somewhat wisdom with talking. You did, for sure. All right, guys, so you know the drill. Right now, it's time for Zeroed In or Out. Oh, that's so scary. You took a pause there. I was like, ah. Yeah. Are you ready for this? I don't know. Okay, so nervous. First one. Would you rather only listen to electronic dance music for the rest of your life or rock music for the rest of your life? Rock. No doubt in my mind. Why is that? Rock. I grew up listening to rock music. like it would just be listening to all of like my dad's CDs and like half of like my liked on Spotify. I'm totally okay with that.
Honestly,
I love rock music.
I agree with you. Honestly, I love rock music, but I also like my EDM. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I have not gotten into EDM.
really?
Yeah, I feel like that's something. I feel like that's something I should start. I
Mm.
mean, that might be cool. That might be fun.
It's a look. All right, so now the second one. Salsa or merengue?
You're terrible for that.
It's I couldn't even make a decision, honestly.
You're so mean. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just asked me that question. Salsa.
Salsa?
Yes, because it's the music that I like you turn like that'll be playing like every single time at my family's function, like when I'm back home. So play that, because I think if they didn't have that, they'd be angry at me.
Yeah, honestly, like with salsa, like I love salsa so much,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I feel like I dance merengue a little better. Salsa just like it's like a little more difficult for me.
Yeah, see,
It's like really fast, so I'm just
it's
like,
the opposite for me.
really?
Yeah, I dance really fast when it comes to salsa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I struggle with that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better at that, and I'm just like,
Just gotta do it. I think I like in my room. It's just like my feet are moving so fast. I'm like, I forgot what the song is doing, but it's okay.
and then last one.
Mm-hmm.
Would you either want to perform, like let's say they give you an option,
Okay.
and it's like, let's say like the same day, but you have to go to one of them. Would you rather perform at Coachella or the Grammys?
I'm taking a long time to think about this. I feel like that would be
It's-
easy.
Yeah.
I feel like Coachella would be fun, but
It's hard. It's hard.
Coachella. I'd say that just because
Coachella?
I have more like freedom with my songs. I feel like
I
I'd have
agree.
more freedoms with my songs.
I feel like you might. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs
Yeah,
of it. But
I don't know the ins and outs of it either.
But I mean,
That's why it took me
I'm
so long.
assuming you would have like more creative freedom with like the stage and all that. You know, like the Grammys are more like, I guess like by the schedule type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'd have more freedom with like time and
yeah.
yeah.
All right. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's all.
Cool.
You basically won, even though there's like no prize.
You basically won. The prize is the bag of chocolate that's over here that no one can
Yep,
see.
it is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, that's basically all for our interview today. Thank you so much.
No,
It was
yeah, thank
really
you.
a pleasure speaking with you, getting to know you more, and also just getting to know you as a musician, but also as a person. You're very genuine, and your passion like shows through the words that you're saying.
Thank
And
you.
I just can't wait for everything that's cooking up, all the music that's gonna
It's
be
cooking
coming. And yeah, so thank you so much.
No, thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Of course.